Hello everyone, welcome to Samiksha Academy. Let's read today's newspaper. See here, you can think it of like a manifesto. Viksit Delhi Sankalpa Patra. Like what are the things that the current BJP is planning to offer, right? If it gets elected for the upcoming Delhi elections, right? Though the current government says it is against freebies, but during the time of elections, it also comes under pressure to implement the freebies. So because right now freebies are no more an exception, they are part of the politics, right? So this is some world news at first. See here, you can see in the first page mostly you can see here post Trump reaction, post Trump post election of Trump. So this is what you can see, this one. So he proposed he came up with a suggestion that Egypt and Jordan should should take Palestinians, right? So to create some kind of welfare there, but both countries went against it. They rejected the proposal. In the similar fashion, see here, this is with respect to Colombia. Colombia strikes deportation deal with US after sanctions threat, because right now Trump is very heavy on immigration, especially illegal migration, right, from the surrounding Latin American countries and Mexico, right. So in that context, as a reaction to that, we can say this, how the surrounding countries are reacting to that, because they don't have an option here, they have to sign the deportation deal, or else he threatened with sanctions. Here yesterday also we discussed this Alexander Lukashenko, Belarus last dictator, the Europe's last dictator, people used to say, right. Yesterday also we discussed about his close connections with Putin, right, and allowing his territory to be utilized by Russia to fight against Ukraine. Understood? So in the context of map pointing, as I said, it is important. Whenever we discuss about world affairs, it's better to open the map and see, because in prelims most of the questions will be coming in terms of map pointing. So in this context, this information will be useful. Same is the case with respect to mains in GS paper 2, especially in international relations, right? See this one. Russia issues school textbook saying it was forced to march into Ukraine. That means like how they want to tell this annexation of part of Ukraine, right, as part of history to the students. So this is how Russia planned, because it's compelled to go for that, right. So see this one again, this is important. See these 2 points. Duck DNA in engines of Jeju airplane that crashed report. As you all know, the aeroplane that came from Thailand to South Korea, right, it crash landed, killed almost all the people except I think 2 people, they survived. Remaining all 180 members they killed. Understood? But here currently they couldn't find any recording in the black box. Usually whenever if any plane crash happens, we will be getting they will be finding for the black box, because the recent conversations will be recorded, but somehow they couldn't find that, they couldn't find anything in that. However, they found the duck DNA. But here in the context of exam also to some extent it is important here. What's the name of that duck? That is Baikal tails, right? It's an migratory bird from that Siberia towards the South Korea during the time of winters, right. They found this duck DNA in that engines of that particular plane. Understood that? So in that context, to some extent you can see this. Along with it, you can also understand this issue in the context of what you call safety of aeroplanes, right, in the context of international civil aviation. So again, see this one with respect to Africa, because in the recent past questions are being asked with respect to African continent, right. So better pay attention to that. Rebels backed by Rwanda claims major city with respect to Congo and the surrounding places. So whenever you see these kind of issues, better open the map and see the surrounding places like waterfalls, right, river systems, right, any mountains are available. Just have a look at the geography, the physical setting of that place, because one day you cannot remember all these things. Better to go with the day-to-day aspect, like day-to-day basis. So this is with respect to world is in crisis again. Leaders listen to Auschwitz survivors of 18th liberation. This is with respect to that the Holocaust that happened during the time of Nazi Germany. So this is some world news. Yeah, again see here from the past few days we are seeing headlines with respect to India China chill, right? Recently our foreign secretary visited Beijing, met his counterpart there. Earlier also we discussed we had NASL level talks. Later our Prime Minister and the Chinese President Xi Jinping both met, right, on the sidelines of BRICS summit that took place in Kazan in Russia, right. Now we are seeing the foreign secretary level talks, right. This I think we can understand in the context of resuming the relationship post 2020 altercation between India and China, right. So this is what you can understand here, and this is with respect to work board. It is important. See here, work panel clears 14 amendments by NDA MPs, rejects all 44 from opposition. So right now there is a controversy going on with respect to this particular work properties. Now government wants to strengthen its control over that. It wants to come up with some kind of streamlining here. Okay. For example, if you see what kind of recommendations of this joint parliamentary committee was accepted by the panel. For example, relaxing 6 months window to register work properties, right? Replacing district collector with state government official, having one member of work tribunal with knowledge of Muslim law and jurisprudence. That means earlier when in the initial proposals of the bill, district collectors used to have a kind of authority with respect to this dealing as an arbiter. But now they want to replace that with state government official in the similar fashion, giving a time of up to 6 months to deal with the registrations of work properties. In the similar fashion, there must be one member from the Muslim community to deal with Muslim law, right, within that work tribunal. But the proposals of the opposition members, most of they were not accepted, right. That's the concern raised by the opposition members, because this joint parliamentary committee is not acting bipartisan manner. It is acting to some extent in favor of the ruling party. That's the concern raised by opposition. But still, at any cost, the current government wants to pass this work properties bill, right. Most probably it will be successfully comes under the gazette. Why? Because its allies JDU and TDP, they were also in favor of it, right. They proposed some with some they came up with some amendments, and those amendments accepted by the ruling regime. Okay. And next, see, this is again important. CBI court gives lifetime to Himachal IGP, 7 other crops in custodial death. Few days back also this particular issue came up in news, right. Very much important in the context of custodial deaths. It's not only an issue of custodial death, eventually how they try to tamper the evidence. Okay. They want to disprove of the claims made against them. That's the reason eventually the cop, right, has to face the life imprisonment regarding the custodial death that happened in Himachal Pradesh. And next one, see this one. As we already discussed, BJP got and close to 4,000 crore in donations. This is with respect to electoral funding. You might not remember the number, but at least see who will be getting how much amount of funding, especially before the elections. When Congress used to be in power, mostly the ruling parties will be getting most amount of donations, right. This you have to observe. Next, see this one. Anti-Romeo squads in Delhi if voted to power, BJP's promise. So it should be though. We should tap this anti-Romeo squad means, especially up to what extent it balances individuals' freedom to roam and doing any kind of anti-social activities. So this is what we can understand from this anti-Romeo squads. See this one. This one is important. This is about this. You can use it it's a kind of case study. especially at the school level, to implement this new education policy. So, under which to promote this diverse understanding of the country. In Vadnagar in Gujarat, they came up with this model called as the Prerana schools. So, under this Prerana school setup, across the country from various districts, children will be chosen, right? Suppose for example here 20 students from 10 districts. From each district 2 students will be chosen, and these 2 students from each district with a batch of, you can see here, every time there will be a batch of 20 students, like that they right now they have around 43 batches. So, for these 20 students from 10 districts, they will be visiting there for a week. There will be, you can think it a kind of exchange of cultures. Till date, they almost cover most of the states, that's what they said, except Nagaland and Kerala, that they are going to cover in the upcoming days ahead. But ultimately, their main agenda here is at school level, they want to promote this kind of diversity. Right, so that you can understand from this Prerana school concept that they recently opened by Amit Shah, the Home Minister of the country. So here the most thing here, suppose highlighted, see here, there once you visit the premises, you can find out the historical legacy of the country about Charaka, Agastya, Aryabhatta, Panini, Patanjali. You can see, right, you can see Lord Buddha, like the teachings of Lord Buddha. It's mostly about understanding the culture. Next, it's mostly continuation of the first page. Next, so this is, see, use of technology, geotagging and chatbots. Delhi police leverages technology, especially when it comes to the upcoming elections in Delhi. So, geotagging of all the polling booths, so that they can track what exactly happening. At the same time, there will be like this chatbot will provide all the major details about like if they have, in any given polling in any given polling booth, if they have any questions, right, this chatbot, it's a kind of AI chatbot, it will provide a kind of FAQ. If you have any questions, that will give an answer, right, like at what time you should open the polling booth, right, and there if like up to what extent the premises can be used, all these aspects you can get it. You can just think it like use of technology here. Next, say water terrorism, Atishi writes to CEC over Yamuna contamination. Right now, Haryana is being ruled by BJP government, the Delhi by AAP government, and they both are exchanging words, especially because water used to come from Haryana to Delhi. Okay. So, in this context, as the Yamuna is heavily getting contaminated, both are exchanging words, right? BJP claiming that we don't have anything to do with the contamination, but Delhi Chief Minister's claim used to be that because of the waters restricting of water supply, so we are seeing contamination at the downstream at our places. That's what Atishi claims. Just kind of local issue between Delhi and Haryana. See here, what is the interesting thing? 3 political parties, that is the ruling party in Delhi, Aam Aadmi Party, opposition BJP and Congress. So all 3, what's the common thing? All 3 are offering cash assistance, women, employment and free healthcare. So these 3 are the core issues for the Delhi's elections. This is what we can understand. Women as an issue, very good. Employment and free healthcare. Understood. Okay, next, this is TMC says to Congress. This why I highlighted the reason being as they formed this India bloc against the current NDA government, right? So under which TMC also one of the member, but right now AAP and Congress are contesting against each other, right? For that, TMC sending its support to AAP. So people are saying it is a kind of gaps among the members of the India bloc. So for that reason I have to highlight this. See this one. this ADR, Association for Democratic Reforms, when it did the analysis of these candidates who will be contesting for the upcoming Delhi elections, see the criminal record. When they did the survey on all 70 candidates from AAP, 70 from INC, 68 from BJP. If you see here, candidates against whom criminal cases are pending, 44, highest are actually from AAP. Okay, cases might be pending, cases might be what you can call it like they might be allegations, right? But the reason here what we need to understand is that the party that came to power against corruption, understood that. So on the same party right now we can see the highest number of what you call criminal cases pending against their contested candidates. Again, they see here 29 candidates having the serious criminal cases against them. At least this should be a cause of concern. Understood? Again, BJP here, the thing here, BJP against BJP candidates, the number of cases are actually less. Against AAP, the number of cases are more. So you can understand the analysis here. Next, it's an editorial. See this one. As we discussed, Supreme Court split on verdict, orders Bastar Pasap burial in another village. Why this issue is being in news from the past 1 week is that here the issue is between individuals' right under Article 14, right to equality, but with respect to state responsibility. On one side, the point here is that here the Supreme Court or the two judgment also gave a split verdict, but they both agreed that now we must give a solution to this. So now they instructed the state government to come up with a separate burial site for the father of this petitioner called as Ramesh Baghel. Understood? But one of the judges mentioned that if you do not provide this burial site for this individual, it violates Article 14 and Article 15 of the Constitution. So another individual said that okay, it might be violating Article 14 and Article 15, right to access to public places, that is Article 15. But the point here, the other judge mentioned that as per this Chhattisgarh regulating of place of disposal of dead bodies and other offensive matters, graves must be there. But at the same time, here this right is, it's not like if this individual, the individual who got recently died must be buried as per the religious rituals. But at the same time, here the responsibility is of the state. You must provide grounds, because if that particular village denies, okay, so they have the right. It is the responsibility of the state to provide an option for the people to follow their religious rituals during the time of death. Understood that? So that's how the verdict you can see here. So finally, some solution to that particular person, at least now let him rest in peace. Again, this is very important. Government lateral entry scheme, politics stall, now awaits legal process. So the major question here is, way back few years back, government thought of to come up with, see here, since 2019, in the year 2019 the government thought of to come up with this lateral entry, especially at the joint secretary level and above. But here you can see three fundamental reasons. Reason number one, suppose if you see here, as per Article 309, recruitment to central government jobs can only be through act of parliament, right? Only through an act of parliament we can go for this lateral entry. But however, Article 310 says if president feels, president can come up with an order. That's what Article 310 says. But the petitioner's argument is that why this scheme should not be implemented. First of all, there is a sufficient number of there are sufficient number of people for each and every position, especially at the joint secretary level and above, right? Second thing, this recruitment should not be for bulk positions without an act of parliament. Okay, and those people who come from the private sector, though you might be saying that they will come up with their specialized knowledge, however, there comes an issue called as confidentiality, right? So, like this, some issues got raised with respect to lateral entry in the Central Appellate Tribunal. Understood that? So, that's how the issue was discussed here. This is very much important in the context of GS paper 2, even for public administration students. So, questions will be coming. Already, I think one time PYQ also asked about this lateral entry. Next one, only a matter of time before entire country adopts UCC. So, for that we have to wait and see. Next, this we already discussed. So, within a few weeks, Rajiv Kumar, the current chief election commissioner, will be demitting the office. Now, as you all know, as per the recent act with respect to the appointment of the election commissioner and chief election commissioner, now if the panel feels, they can even choose a member outside election commission. Usually the chief election commissioner will be among the members of the election commissioner, the senior most member will become the chief election commissioner. However, as per the recent act, if the selection committee feels, it can even go outside. As you all know, the selection committee will be consisting of Prime Minister, one cabinet minister and one leader of opposition. So, this 3-member committee will be deciding chief election commissioner. It is important in the context of prelims. See this one, NIA team likely to leave US on Jan 30 to bring back Rana, right? The individual, India considers him as one of the culprits behind this 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks. What is most important thing here? See here, this individual filed a writ of certiorari. What is writ of certiorari? When the lower court issued an order, okay, so he wants to, he filed a certiorari against that. What is that? He wants to quash that order. He wants the higher court to quash that order. Quash means officially cancelling that order. So that's what here in the context of polity you can understand this. But now most probably in the context of IR, to strengthen the bilateral relationship between India and US, right? There also you can understand this issue. If this individual comes to India, we can do investigation on him and we can further get evidences to find out who are the exact individuals, what their modus operandi was when they planned this attack on Indian soil, right? So again, this see this headline here, Supreme Court criticized reluctance of high courts and trial courts in granting bail. So especially here, one cleric of this madrasa, right? He got arrested on reason being that he forcibly kept one mentally challenged minor and converted him to his particular religion. However, the court's point here is that there might be a case, but for these kind of cases, because it's not a brutal case, it's not a case of brutal rape or something else. So for these kind of cases, bail should not be an exception. Understood? So you should be cautious enough. At least the High Court should be cautious enough. That's what the court has to say here. It does not mean that you should not you should not see the evidence. Evidence must be gathered, but you must use your discretionary power. See here, with respect to the Rajouri village in Jammu, this we discussed. Chemicals used in pesticides likely behind Rajouri deaths. So still hypothesis, but still few days back also we discussed about it. When they from the local bowl, from the local tank, when they got this when the people started drinking the water, suddenly they are seeing happening of deaths in that particular village. Next, see this one with respect to East Asian country. 67 Indians trafficked to cyber scam centers rescued from Laos. In the recent past, there is increasing attacks of cyber scams, especially happening from this Laos, Cambodia and surrounding regions. right? So they are recruiting Indians to scam us. So this is what happened here. After the recent external affairs minister's conversation, at least now we could rescue this 67 Indians trafficked for this cyber scams. So they are being like first they are being trafficked and later being forced to be part of the cyber gang. See this one. Why I highlighted this? Out on bail, Kerala man of murdering woman now kills his husband and mother-in-law. The reason why he killed both of them, because he felt his wife died because of the black magic performed by this woman and her husband. Okay, so this is what we should understand. See this, Chhattisgarh, Mahabir Street Village of 120 homes gets fresh tap water. It should be considered as a good initiative, because these kind of developmental activities eventually make people to come out of this Maoist trap. See this one, Supreme Court stays Madras High Court order to probe FIR leak. Here what is the most important thing is, here why Supreme Court stayed, eventually the Mukul Rohatgi, right, on part of the state government argued that it's a glitch in the CCTNS system. Understood? Because here FIR leak, it's an issue of a violation of fundamental rights. How the individual's right to privacy can be breached. That's what we can understand from this. See this, MP Bar Association President tenders apology for fabricated claims. So initially this individual just made a claim that there used to be presence of mandir in that, and this Chief Justice of Madhya Pradesh High Court, right, he demolished it. He just passed an allegation, and that compelled the Chief Justice to not attend the Republic Day event. But what's most important thing is passing of fake allegations. Eventually this individual has to apologize. Understood? So these kind of things we must pay attention. These things shouldn't happen. See this one, Anmol Bishnu. This is with respect to organized crime. But what's interesting thing is, see the individuals who are being recruited in this gang, most of them are in their early 20s. In the age of early 20s, these individuals are being recruited and being lured with attractive offers like flats, cars. This is just say this, every day 2.2 lakh passengers coming through trains to Prayagraj, just a track of data, nothing else. See this one, what is this vote jihad? As per the Maharashtra government, the point here is, especially after this individual who attacked Saif Ali Khan, now more number of demand for more number of birth certificates from Maharashtra government is getting increased. Now the point here they are mentioning is, because most of the illegal migrants now wants to get the birth certificates from the government, because if they get the birth certificate from India, they will become Indian citizens. That's the reason now they raised a concern, especially those who are applying for birth certificate, especially after 30 years. Now they stopped all this, and now there is a political churn here. Now the government's point here is, it's a vote jihad, right? So eventually they want to get converted into voters. Next, so this is with respect to NITI Aayog report on health of states. As you all know, debt to GDP ratio, right? A healthy states will maintain a balanced debt to GDP ratio. For example, some states like Odisha and Gujarat, even having low GDP also is not fair. Suppose for example, both Odisha and Gujarat having less GDP, less debt to GDP ratio. But in terms of wealth, if you see Odisha and Gujarat, it's not comparable. In Gujarat, the reason why they don't have, why they have less debt to GDP ratio, it's a different case comparing with Odisha. But in the case of states like Punjab and Andhra Pradesh, see here I just highlighted, they are having, Punjab is having highest debt to GDP ratio. That is also not good. Understood? So what I am trying to explain here is that if states having high debt to GDP ratio, then it's very difficult for the industry to invest more in that particular state. Why? Most major chunk of the fund is being utilized by the state government itself. And another concern is if the fund utilized by the state government uses it mostly for this what you call distribution of freebies, right, and for this power subsidies, it will not lead to any kind of development. So that's why having debt to GDP ratio in higher sense, again it's not good. But whatever debt the state is whatever debt the state is having with respect to center or taking from the RBI, if it is using for capital creation, that would be good, right? So this is what we can understand from the health of the states, the report, Niti Aayog's report with respect to what you call fiscal prudence. There is a word called as fiscal profligacy, that means extravagant spending, right? There must be fiscal consolidation. Consolidation means careful utilization of the resources, whatever debt we are getting from the center or from RBI, understood, within the limits of this fiscal responsibility and budget management act, that if you utilize effectively, you can not only balance your debt to GDP ratio, but you can create capital assets. So that is about it. Next is, see this one again, here the point, here the quality of growth. Okay, you may get growth, but how the growth is coming? Whether the growth is coming from the heavy amount of EMIs, right, with heavy household consumption. For example, if you see the data what he mentioned here, most of the NPAs in the recent past, household NPAs are getting increased. Retail NPAs means people like you and me. People will be taking loans for consumption, understood, later could not able to pay back. Okay, if this increases, because of this, if growth comes, it is not sustainable in the future. So we should have a, like, we should be taken care of this, understood that. So that's what this article says. There is a salience in this point, so that's the reason I highlighted. Again, this is with respect to that yesterday's government is planning for, Sikkim government is planning for a dam. Yesterday we discussed about that. Earlier there happened to be glacial like outburst, but now once again now they are planning for this dam, this what we call this Teesta 3 dam, right? But here what the most important thing is, when government is planning for any kind of dams, first there must be, especially in mountainous regions, when if you are coming for any kind of dams, buildings or highways, there must be strict safety measures followed. That's what the whole editorial says. Again, this one, MSP is not enough. The major crux is, as we are discussing from the past few weeks, just focusing legality of MSP is not sufficient to strengthen agricultural sector. For that, you need to have like multiple divisions, not only just providing MSP, but we need to diversify the cropping varieties. Rather than focusing only on rice and wheat, we should increase the pulses, we should increase the oil seeds, right? There must be diversification of the markets for the products. Across the country, farmers should be getting the markets. Agricultural APMCs, agricultural price and marketing committees, right? They must be deregulated. They should not control the prices. So this is what we can understand from this particular article. Next, so here one line you can understand. If you see in the recent past, in the whole discussion, neither BJP nor AAP, nobody is discussing about pollution. That's what his major concern here. Absence of air pollution from Delhi election manifesto shows that in democracies, often political parties frame electoral issues, voters only respond to them. So everybody is discussing about with respect to healthcare, with respect to women, right, with respect to employment, but what about air pollution? That's one of the major causes of concern. What kind of initiatives they will be taking up, nobody is discussing. That's his major concern here. Next, this is interesting aspect. TN registered Samsung workers union after months of labor battle, right? Why do we need to have unions? Unions act as pressure groups. In GS paper 2, right, we have a topic called as pressure group and interest groups. Why do we need them? What are the issues with them? So in this context, I think you should understand, right? So initially Samsung have this concern that its name should not be used, but workers used to feel that it's a norm we used to follow wherever we work, we will be having a union in that name. Understood. The main here why eventually government agreed for the registration, for that the local worker has to say that this is the victory of workers' rights and unionism in India. We hope Samsung will now recognize the union and engage with actively. So why do we need unions? Definitely involving unions will allow for a better decision making, eventually reducing the conflicts within the organization. But however, heavy unionism also sometimes reduces the it lacks the decision making. Understood. So that's why there must be a fine balance. In that context, I think you should understand this. See here, as we discussed, a united NDA, good news for BJP to see work bill through. JDU, TDP, LJP, right? They all agree. They are all on same page, right? To pass this work board bill. Next, so this is with respect to what you call Prabowo Subaitino, President of Indonesia, visited India. So in that context, if you see earlier in 1950s, as you all know, Indonesia is one of the founding members of NAM, this non-alignment movement, right, and Sukarno. But eventually after Nehru's death in 1960s, especially initially when there was this rise of communist wave because of the influence of China, eventually this wave was heavily suppressed with the help of US. Later, Indonesia slowly inclined towards US, India slowly inclined towards USSR. That's why during Cold War times, during the time of Indira Gandhi, we inclined more towards USSR, Indonesia inclined more towards USA. Because of that, till 1990s, we didn't maintain much bonhomie in the relationship, but eventually after 1990s, with our lookist policy, especially by the then Prime Minister P.V. Narasimha Rao, we once again strengthened the relationship with Indonesia, right? We became part of the East Asia Summit. Understood. Now we further strengthen the relationship with the East Asian countries, with countries like Singapore, Malaysia. East Asia is one of the major trading bloc for India right now. Understood that? So in that context, relationship with Indonesia is very much important. It is also one of the most populous country among the Asian countries, among the 10 Asian countries. So this is what we can understand. Again, see this one important point here. This is with respect to Lizim dance. Recently, this Vicky Kaushal's new Bollywood film. So in this film, in this Chava, this is about Sambhaji Maharaj, father of Shivaji Maharaj. Sorry, son of Shivaji Maharaj. So Sahuji was the father. Sambhaji was the son of Shivaji Maharaj. Sorry. This Lezim dance, the point here is this Lezim dance was performed by this actor, right? But they raised a concern that it should not have been done. You should not have much used the artistic liberty. Eventually, the director of the movie agreed for the removal of that particular scene. But here, what's most important thing is the Lezim dance. What is Lezim dance? It is a dance performed using wooden instrument which is small cymbals attached to it. Okay. So the small cymbals, the one if you play in a rhythmic manner, will give a kind of rhythmic sound, right? So with the wood, it's quite common. It is one of the quite common instruments. Understood that? But here, this attachment of cymbals to that wood, and they will be dancing that. That is one of the traditional dance in Maharashtra, right? So in the context of art and culture, you can understand the Lezim dance. Lezim dance means it is related to Maharashtra, part of Maharashtrian folklore. That's what we can. That's the reason I highlighted that particular point here. Next, just remember this lady, the one recently got the Padma Shri, Libya, Lobo Sardese, right? One of the individuals from whom we can get how Goa liberated from Portuguese. Understood. The what you call the authentic stories, what exactly happened during that time, that we can get from her. Had struggled during that time to fight for this government liberation, right? She, her and her husband in 1955, they ran this underground radio station, right, for the people who are fighting for the liberation. So eventually her work got recognized and she got this Padma Shri. So in that context, that personality is important. Next, this is just about sports. Next, see this one. This is very much important. Prime Minister Modi co-chair Paris AI Summit. What's the agenda here? The agenda is increasing concentration of power of AI market. Most of the AI market right now being controlled by US and China. So that's the cause of concern for us. So that will be discussed here. Again, see here OpenAI. Though it says it's open, but those who pays, for them only it is open. It's not open for everyone. Right, but the concern here is there is a in the recent past there are growing number of cases against this OpenAI. People used to say that it is violating the copyrights. It is taking the digital content from the websites, understood, that without their permission, and it is using it. So that is about again as the SEBI, the current SEBI chairperson Bachu, his term is going to end. They are planning for the new SEBI chairperson. Just tap that. Next, after that, not much here again. That's it. Thank you.